You guys know how I roll, and a big day calls for a special car, so the 34 is coming out of the woodwork for our journey to a very special announcement. Now, the last time I drove this, it had a slight miss under boost, and I'm thinking maybe the plugs are fouled out. I don't think we've changed them in a really long time. So I'm gonna pull off the cover and see what's going on so we could have some fun with this thing. Pro tip that we always do from the race car days, just to make sure that it's easy when you are servicing, you mark the spark plugs before you put them in, and then when you take them out, it doesn't matter what order you have, you always know which is relative to each cylinder. As always, we only use the best, and in this car, we use NGK BKR7Es. The gap that we run on these is about 18 thousandths. We'll run as much as 22, but that's on the lower boost cars. This one actually sees quite a bit of boost, so we don't want to blow a spark. But NGK, as you guys know, supporters of my FD program and the best spark plugs in the market, and you can get all kinds at your local AutoZone. And as a reminder, if you purchase NGK product at AutoZone or Type S, Pennzoil, Optima, you can get entered for a chance to win a trip out to Long Beach for some fun with me and the RTR crew and a ride in the FD car on the FD track at the streets of Long Beach. I'll put more information in the description. Big reel guys now. Mike's got his gimbal. He's retired the DSLR and he's onto an iPhone now.
Per request of Adam.
Gotta be authentic to the Instagram reels. We can't cheat too much. It's been the first time I've been driving this car in a while, and nice thing is the spark plugs fixed the issue. Weather's beautiful, and we're cruising. Thanks, Mike. Third gear. All right. Oh, that was fifth. It's okay. I do the same thing. We're so stuck at the compound lately that it feels like we're going on a field trip today because we're actually like in the city around like other population.
Yeah, this is the first time we've seen a Wawa in like 7 years.
You remember Wawa, dude?
Yeah, remember?
Remember going to the gas station?
Yeah, remember being able to get good food at a gas station?
Remember when all my cars didn't run on Ignite?
I don't remember that, actually.
I don't miss that, actually, either, because who wants detonation in their life? Not me. So fun fact, we're going to a place called the Florida Mall, and this used to be my favorite place in the world because when I was a kid, we would come down to Florida for Thanksgiving to visit my sister, and there was this one store called Adrenalina, and they had an indoor wave pool where you could do like the surf thing, and like we would come every year, and I felt like I got pretty good, and I would walk up in there in my bathing suit, and I would go, you know, shred some gnar on the waves. I never did real surf because saltwater and me don't get along too well, but I was a surfer in the mall. True story. Two boys from the swamp, first time at the mall in like a millennium. Look at that. Look at that. All right, dude. Ain't a street hunter kit, ain't care. That's for sure. Your boy Tej, round fender flares. Appreciate it. You know it's gotta be a special occasion to find me in the mall, and I'm excited to announce that today, LZMFG officially launched in select Zoomies all across the country. So we dropped by, someone tagged me in a story, I saw it on the shelf, and I wanted to see it in real life, because it sounded, it still feels way too unreal, like, this is the most absurd thing in the world. So we've got a brand new design. We've got one of my old favorite designs repopped and a new BC collab that isn't available anywhere. And it's available in select Zoomies across the country. It's kind of like a soft launch, but stuff has been selling well already and I haven't even made a post about it, so that makes me feel super good. I'm gonna put in the description all the stores that it's available at in case you guys wanna check it out. I don't want you to go drive to your local Zoomies and be let down, but I know stuff's already selling out, which is like the craziest thing. Also worthy mention, these are still the same exact shirts that we print on, the same print quality, so nothing has changed. It comes from the same supplier, they're just on the store now. The only way that I got Mike to come with me, I promised him that we go to Auntie Annie's and get some pretzel bites after, so he's real stoked for that.
Auntie Anne's? Hell yeah.
I'm gonna let you eat one and I'm gonna throw the rest out.
I will kill you.
You probably will.
I will fucking kill you.
Ooh, Mikey got his pretzels. Ooh.
Adam's just waiting for the moment to slap this
Yep,
stuff.
I'm just gonna go, bam. I want one first though. Big shout out for Auntie Annie. I gotta drive 34 more often. This thing just has so much presence. Looking at it in the parking spot, it's probably one of my favorite things.
It's a good car.
Yep. It's not black, so it's weird that Mike likes it, but.
It's black in the shade.
Yep. I need to program my key so it actually works. Oh, I've been looking for that water bottle.
That one specifically?
Yep.
Good car. What happened to ABT, huh?
That's not a verbal, okay?
What happened to ABT?
That's a backfire. purple t-shirts available on LZMFT.com. Every $5 you spend gets you in for a chance to win R33 with RB26 and $10,000 cash. I forgot to mention, if you guys go to Zoomies and you see my stuff, tag me and tag LZMFG so I can share it. I want to like be able to post it a lot of times.
Many of the time.
I like lose followers because I annoy them so much by posting that. And if you don't follow me, you should follow me to offset all the people that are going to unfollow me after I do that. It's Adam_LZ. I usually just post cars and car content, accessories.
And Pete.
Lots of Pete. I was a scumbag YouTuber and I didn't film it all at our company outing, so sorry about that. But I'm back in the shop and I want to drive the Corvette. However, I don't think it's safe or acceptable to drive with my fuel pump wire hanging over the roof. So we went over to Drift HQ and we got a Dishworks hardwire kit. Now, I've always made my own relay setups, but the nice thing about this is it's kind of already made for you and it's so cheap that you can't go wrong. So what it comes with is a nice relay with pigtails, a long power wire with a fuse built in. And even though we can make something like this, the price that it sells for, you couldn't replicate if you went to an auto parts store, Home Depot, whatever. It's a cool product and it saves a lot of time. Because the fuel pump setup's technically located like outside of the inside of the car, I think I'm actually gonna go underneath the car with this because it'll make it a lot easier than having to take apart all the interior panels and then having to cut holes and stuff. It'll be super easy if I just have a run from the battery that's right here, drop down, follow the brake lines, and then I can come up and mount the relay somewhere on top of the fuel setup. So we're gonna start from the back, since that's where the relay is gonna be. Pull this through, and then we'll raise the car up on the lift so we can find a good way to run the wire. I associate this plastic conduit with being cheap, ugly, and something I would never use in a build. However, there's a lot of sharp edges that it's gonna be following. This is a ground, so I'm not worried about this, but it's gonna be like touching subframes and brackets that are kind of sharp. So instead of adding padding for all of them, I'm gonna slide some of this plastic conduit over the wire, at least until I can get to the smooth run that's up here. I'll have a little bit more peace of mind having a live power wire running underneath the car. Whenever you're doing something like this, it's always easiest to follow the factory routing of something else. That's why I'm doing it with the brake lines. It gives you something to secure it to versus trying to create a new path. You know, if the factory put the brake lines in a certain spot, you don't have to worry about things in motion coming in contact with them. Also, since this is already kind of made, if you're having a hard time fitting this through something, rather than cutting and re-splicing it, what you can do is you can just unplug the cap for the fuse, take out the fuse, and now you've created about like half as wide of a thing to run through a hole. So if you want to avoid cutting up wires, that is going to make your life the easiest. Definitely not the prettiest run, but the important thing is the wires are safe and I can have peace of mind that they're not going to be dragging down the road or creating a short. Now the most important thing is that you have an inline fuse as close as possible to the battery. Now I didn't know better and I used the wiring kit for some fans a long time ago, and the fuse was, I think, like 4 or 5 feet past the battery, and what happened is the wire shorted out on the cross member on the car, started catching on fire, and I burned my hands a bunch trying to pull the terminal off so my car didn't go up in flames. Now, the reason this happened is because the wire had a short between the fuse and the battery, so the closer you can put the fuse to the battery, if we have a short anywhere underneath the car, it'll pop the fuse instead of lighting the wire on fire, which is what happened with the other setup. But this is kind of nice because there's a factory terminal right down here, so I'll be able to put a circle butt connector, as I like to call them, down here, straight from the fuse, and then we'll be good to rock. Wiring back here is pretty simple with a 4-pin relay. Blue is usually the signal wire. That's what would come from the factory turn on for the fuel pump or from your standalone. I always remember which one goes to the fuel pump because it's usually opposite of the power wire. So this is our 12-volt source from the battery, and the one that is going to power the fuel pump is on the opposite side. And then this, of course, is a ground, and I actually have a separate ground for the fuel pump, both grounded to the chassis. Kind of weird for me to document this just because I feel like it's something A, I've explained many times in the past, and B, like, I'm not a wiring expert by any means. I know a lot of you guys know a lot more than me when it comes to wiring stuff and the proper way to do things. But some of the feedback that I saw is that you guys missed a lot more of the little technical things. A lot of it is me learning in the process that I used to include in a lot of the older videos. And honestly, something like this, Sean or Johan probably would have done, but I'm trying to let them focus as much on the Supra as possible without pulling them away. And I've just been really excited to drive this thing and go test it out with its new power levels. So I decided I'd just do it myself. I kind of enjoy the little wiring stuff, especially when it's something I'm familiar with. But now is the moment of truth. When I turn the key, will the fuel pump prime? Sounds like we got prime, but will it start? Nice. Great success. Now I just gotta clean everything up, fasten it, and we're good to go. Fun trick the Drift HQ boys taught me for getting low cars on the lift is using these little wheel dollies when it's hard to get a jack under and get the car in the right spot. Just being careful that it doesn't get into the rim. I'm gonna try driving it for the first time with the glass top. The T-top open is kind of cool, but the wind kind of bothers me. The glass roof is super sick because it's got like a tint. When you're inside the car, it's got a super cool vibe. I did turn the boost down just a hair. Past 20 pounds, the car stopped really making that much more power per pound of boost. And what I think the reason for that is likely to do with the port size on the NA Neo head. If I remember correctly, it had quite a bit smaller ports. So at a certain boost level, the engine can't flow the air that you're trying to force into it, so you start to see negligible differences for every pound of boost that you add. Some engines you might add a pound of boost and pick up 50 wheel, and then when you're reaching the upper threshold of where it's happy, in this case I think we were picking up like 10 wheel per pound of boost. I know the turbo is not out of its efficiency range, so I'm assuming it's a head thing, so turning it down a little bit just for longevity, I think we'll land this car somewhere around like 450. That seems to be where it's happy, but it's quite a bit different than before, so I'm gonna take it for a drive and see how she feels on the road. The glass roof is so cool, I love it. I can see the sky, and it's like tinted just enough to where it's not too hot. This is gonna be fun. All right, let's see if she spins the wheel in first gear now. Fingers crossed. Just the right amount of wheel spin. Second gear hazes the tires a little bit, but hook's pretty good. Big fan, big fan, big fan, big fan. Could use a little bit better alignment. I can feel it like swirling around a little bit with the wheel spin, but it's pretty good. Like I said before, like the fact that I can take my hands off the wheel and it almost goes straight is sick. Laid back video, not the average, but starting with the Zoomies announcement was huge for me. Kind of threw a curveball my day because I didn't know that was going to be happening so soon. But I'm stoked that I got to share that moment with you guys. I'm stoked that this thing's a ripper on the street now. But the question is, will it do a burnout? Damn, this thing has so much fucking grip. I can't even get it to do. Jump like my plan. I'm probably covered in bugs and lots of diseases now, but I got sidetracked and I saw a new trail, so I blazed a trail that connected the trails. And yeah, it's actually really fun and super therapeutic. It's like mowing the grass, except you're blazing a new trail. Really enjoy it. It'd be sick if I was in a cabin though, because I'm real itchy now and I've probably got a lot of diseases from Florida stuff. But it's a good time. Also found a random old metal bumper, probably from the previous owner, thrown somewhere in the depths of this woods. Maybe there's gold or more bumpers. Let's find out. Well, minutes later, I high-sided the tractor, so I'm stuck. And there's that. How am I gonna get out of here? I don't know yet. Maybe my side-by-side with a strap. Side-by-side's not working the greatest right now. My plan was to fix that after it was dark, but yeah. I think I'm on a stump or something. Wheels keep spinning. I don't really know what I'm gonna do, but I'll let you guys know what I figure out. Not sure if this will work, but I tried to prop the that bumper I found. Oh, do I have a flat? I hear some weird hissing. I hope it's not a rattlesnake. I tried to put the bumper underneath the tire, so maybe this will give it traction. We'll see. Leather record hold, I was able to get out myself. I just had to use the arm thing to put more weight on the rear tires. I tried it before, but it wasn't really working, but I think maybe the hydraulics just needed to build up or something. I don't really understand how this tractor shit works. Getting pretty dark, so I'm gonna call it quits, but I managed to turn what was a bunch of dirt piles into a somewhat start of a sculpt of a jump. It's a side-by-side jump, and I don't really know how it's gonna kick it, so I started off with kind of like a mellow lip, and then a really long landing that is pretty wide and needs to be evened out. And then depending on how this shapes, I might make like a little berm here, but I managed to clear quite a few trails. I got the tractor stuck, almost rolled it, but I feel like I'm starting to figure it out. Like backblading with it is definitely the move. But yeah, I just got this like little awkward stuff here. Really gotta have a firefighter team come in and burn this stuff because it's making this not fun. And then all this stuff is in my way, so this has gotta get burned too. But over here, I gotta shape this out a little bit more, but we're getting there. Slowly but surely, it's starting to look like a playground. You'll kind of come through there. Gotta get a chainsaw to clear some of that stuff out, but you'll come through here. Not the straightest run up, now that I look at it, but we can adjust that. This thing is what's in the way though. I'm stoked. That's something that I've been wanting to do for a while, but it's so hard fighting daylight during the weekdays because the time we're down at the warehouse is usually around 6. It gets dark at like 6:20, so having a little bit of daylight to play around the tractor, move some dirt around, pretty therapeutic. I'm excited. I think Sunday I might spend a little more time doing that, but I really want to go ride my bike, so I'm gonna close the video out here. Hope you guys have a great weekend, and I hope you enjoyed this video. Missed our deadline a little bit with the Supra. We were supposed to go to the rotary meet with it tonight, but we didn't want to rush it, so next week hopefully we'll have that thing ripping.